This hour by Frederick Remington, fully cooked, ready-to-eat bacon. Exclusive, no refrigeration, 10-year extended shelf life bacon. The thickest, meatiest, center-cut bacon in the industry at fullycookedbacon.com.
The stocks discussed on Wall Street Raw are not in any way a recommendation or solicitation to buy, sell, or hold. If considering on acting on information, we first recommend you seek out a competent, licensed professional for advice.
What kingdom has sent you?
The kingdom of the Most High.
Nothing you have ever experienced can prepare you for the unbridled carnage you're about to witness. Super Bowl, the World Series, they don't know what pressure is. In this building, it's either kill or be killed. You make no friends in the pits and you take no prisoners. 1 minute, you're up $500,000 in soybeans, and the next, boom, your kids don't go to college and they've repossessed your Bentley. Are you with me?
The Genesis Communication Network is proud to bring you Wall Street Raw with nationally recognized market timer and previous Wall Street Week elf, Mark Leibovit, welcoming you on board his financial time machine. And here is the elf himself, Mark Leibovit.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. It is Saturday, July 15th, 2017. No other day like it. Thank you for joining us on this long weekend. When I say long weekend, still recovering from 4th of July, believe it or not. And I have Freedom Fest coming up next week. For those of you who may be interested, you can go to my website and you get a discount to going to Mark SKOUSEN's this is the 10th year that he's holding the Freedom Fest. And I'm going to be there doing some interviews. We're going to have Mark SKOUSEN back on the air again this morning for an interview talking about Freedom Fest, a spectacular event. As you know, Mark SKOUSEN is also a financial publisher, but there are a lot of libertarian views there, as well as, I guess, just more conservative views as well, ranging from politics to the economy. So, interesting situation coming up next week. We'll be broadcasting from Freedom Fest next week. We have an interesting show, as always, for you. We have our good friend Harry Boxer joining us, SINCLAIR No, Don VIALOUX. We have a couple sponsored interviews this morning from Kyle Dennis and Jeff Bishop from Raging Bull. Keith FITZGERALD will be joining us. He's a regular commentator you hear on the national news front talking about the markets. And, of course, as I just mentioned, Mark SKOUSEN. So, Washington is in gridlock and the White House faces scrutiny. Valuations are at the highest levels since the financial crisis, folks. And there's been straight months of outflows from the biggest exchange-traded fund, the S&P 500, believe it or not. But what happened this week? Well, new highs across the board. So go figure that out. Market climbing that old wall of worry. So let's jump to Don this morning and hear what he has to say. Welcoming back our regular and very special guest, Don VIALOUX, who is a past president of the Canadian Society of Technical Analysts, and he was also an advisor to the Horizons Seasonal Rotation ETF between 2009 and 2015, and his expertise really is seasonality in the markets. He has two websites, timingthemarkets.ca and equityclock.com. Thank you for joining us, Don.
Thanks for having me, Mark.
A lot to cover here. Let's talk about July 17th. That's an important date coming up.
Yeah, on average, during the past 20 years, July the 17th is the peak for both the S&P 500 index and the TSX composite. So every year, the peak has followed at least a short-term correction after July 17th. The correction has been triggered by lower than average trading volumes and greater than average volatility measured by the VIX index. Now, the VIX index also has a period of seasonal strength from early July to mid-October. Now, what about this year? Well, already trading volumes in July related to summer holidays have declined to below average. However, volatility based on the VIX index remains low, near 10%. Accordingly, the normal summer correction from July 17th to mid-October is coming, but will arrive slightly later than average this year.
Summer strength in the VIX index was frequently triggered by unexpected events, and Don, you say, right?
Yeah, it's fascinating. Last year, the spike was triggered by Brexit, in 2015 was triggered by a meltdown in China. Biggest spike, of course, happened in 2008 when we had the VIX really going higher, and the S&P 500 and TSX Composite Index dropped by 41%. Now, what about this year? Well, lots of possible reasons for a spike in the VIX this year. Things like North Korea, failure by U.S. Congress to pass major legislation, a spike in interest rates, and an impending trade war. So possibilities are high for a VIX spike this year.
And summer strength is often correlated with strength in gold and silver, right?
Fascinating, because very high correlation with the VIX and the gold and gold stocks. Now, their period of seasonal strength is from the third week in July, in other words, next week, to the first week in October. What about this year? Well, gold and silver-related ETFs currently are in a downtrend and have underperformed the S&P 500 and TSX Composite since early June. However, they are deeply oversold in the short term. Last week, their short-term momentum indicators started to turn higher. Watch closely. The signal to initiate positions in the sector for a seasonal trade into October will be a spike in the VIX index.
Don, thank you so much for those valuable insights. Don VIALOUX from EquityClocks.com and TimingTheMarket.ca. Great stuff, Don. We'll talk to you next week. Thank you. Welcome back, our regular and always very special guest, Harry Boxer from the TechTrader.com. If you're not familiar with the TechTrader.com, it's a live trading room featuring his trade alerts and technical market analysis, and Harry's been doing this for nearly 50 years. He's a stock picker, and he's author of the book Profitable Day in Swing Trading, which was named by Stock Traders Almanac as a 2015 Best Investment Book of the Year. Harry, it's always a pleasure having you on the show.
The pleasure's all mine.
Well, Dow into new highs on Friday. Here we're playing this interview on Saturday morning, but market continues to climb that wall of worry, and everybody's been looking for a correction in a summer top, and it's the opposite is happening.
Because the market never accommodates the majority, and the vast majority of people, including every hedge fund manager client of mine, is cautious and bearish and is short, and they're getting their ass kicked. Take a look at the second quarter results in some of these hedge funds, and they are miserable. Some of these guys are really nervous about their jobs. I'm serious.
So does that mean the market will just continue moving higher? Right. I mean, we continue this way. Who knows how high is high here this summer, the summer rally that people sort of joke about.
The other thing is the market always goes further than you think it's going to both ways. You know, it goes further, it goes lower than you think it's going to go, and that's why you never pick a bottom. Don't try to pick a top. Just keep raising your stops. Or peel it off as it goes up. I always tell people to take off, tranches in quarters or thirds. You never need to sell everything all at once, because if you're wrong, it just keeps going. That's when you get ticked off.
Well, do you have a target of any kind on the upside? No.
First of all, let me tell you something. I'm a stock person, not an index person. Unless you're trading OEX or S&P options, what's the point? Look, the biggest mistakes I ever made in my life is when I tried to time my individual purchases and sales on the market itself. Wrong strategy. It's a market of stocks, not a stock market. Trade stocks. Forget about what the indices are doing. You'd be amazed how many stocks. For example, today there are 168 new highs, only 43 lows. 4-to-1 new highs over lows. Is that a bear market? I don't think so.
All right. So speaking of stocks, what's hitting your screen that's attractive?
Well, I have a lot of stocks that look good intraday, but from the standpoint of swing. Nutanix, for example, NTNX was a really hot IPO when it came out in September, October. Got up into the high 40s. It creamed it all the way down to 14, 15. About 6-8 months later, it's back up to 22 and running. Right now, today, it's up, $1.75. 7 million have traded. It's up almost 9%. Having a very good day. There's quite a few biotechs on my list. If you take a look at the front page of my site, you'll see all the top swings we had this year. 80% biotech.
That's the place to be. Okay, Harry.
Yep.
We ran out of time. Harry Boxer likes biotech, so let's take a look at that list and go to the TechTrader.com to get specific recommendations and trading insights. We'll speak to you next week, Harry. Thanks for joining us.
I just want your people to know that you can get in my site for free for 2 weeks, no credit card, nothing. Just come and join us and check it out. Thank you.
That's at TechTrader.com. Thank you, Harry.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Harry. Thank you, Don. And I also want to thank Swiss America for being our sponsor on the show. And if you want more information from them, call 800-289-2646. More with Swiss America later. Stay tuned. We'll be back after the break.
You're listening to Wall Street Raw with Mark Leibovit. Go to wallstreetradio.com for information on Mark's newsletters and products. Stay tuned. Mark will be right back.
The answer to being in control of your own health care is freedom from insurance. Become part of a group of self-pay patients that come together to share in each other's medical expenses. Individual share amounts begin at $107 a month and $347 for families. Choose from 3 health-sharing programs. Holistic treatments may be eligible for sharing. See guidelines. Discount programs available for dental, vision, and pharmacy. Go to libertyoncall.org. That's libertyoncall.org.
Attention business owners and independent contractors. This is a money-saving message from Tax Mediation Services. If your business owes $20,000 or more in taxes, we can help you today, right now. Listen, dealing with the IRS is no picnic. It's an intimidating and extremely stressful process, and you don't want to go it alone. Our attorneys know every law, every tax break, and every possible opportunity to help you resolve and reduce your tax debt. And if you owe more than $20,000, you may be at the top of their hit list. So don't take your tax debt lightly, because it will not go away on its own. The IRS can seize your bank accounts, your home, and even shut down your business. Call our tax experts today at 1-800-765-9681 and let us deal with the IRS while you focus on your business. That's 1-800-765-9681. Again, that's 800-765-9681.
Hunters, anglers, campers, and survivalists. Get back to nature. Expand your horizons with the highest quality, most versatile, unique slingshots and sling bows on the market at slingbow.com. Sling bow products are compact and models start from just $17.98. They're perfect for your bug-out bag or storing in your vehicle. Give yourself and your loved ones the excitement and tradition of sling bow. A new frontier in archery and truly modern twist on this primitive survival tool. Feel the thrill only at slingbow.com.
Hi, this is Ted Anderson. I'm here to tell you about GCNtelecare.com, a team of board-certified doctors assisting you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. Within 15 minutes of registration, care your family can afford. Revolutionizing the healthcare industry, virtual consulting providing diagnosis of non-emergency medical issues by phone or secure video on computer or smart mobile devices. GCNtelecare.com. Virtual care anywhere.
How did you become addicted? A friend? Were you at a party and someone said, "Hey, try this"? Then you got the cold sweats and started shaking. And the more you did it, the more it didn't work. So you switched to the needle. Now you're a train wreck. Drinking, drugging, broke. Your family hates you. And you hate you. Get out of your hell on earth now. Call the Detox and Treatment Helpline today for immediate help. In many cases, your insurance may cover the costs. We can't guarantee it, but we can guarantee we have what you need to change your life for the better. Pick up your cell phone and call right now. 855-700-2979. 855-700-2979. 855-700-2979. That's 855-700-2979.
It's a no-brainer. A Big Berkey water filter is the one you need, period. You need a water filter that removes chlorine, fluoride, pharmaceuticals, BPA, and other endocrine disruptors, pesticides, bacteria, viruses, and much more, right? And does it all at only 2 cents per gallon. Get the original and most trusted name in gravity water filtration, Big Berkey. And now GCN listeners receive 5% off ceramic filter systems using code GCN. Call or click 1-877-99-BERKEY or BigBerkeyWaterFilters.com. That's 1-877-99-BERKEY.
Think big. Think positive. Never show any sign of weakness. Always go for the throat. Buy low, sell high. Fear, that's the other guy's problem.
Welcome back to the Wall Street Raw Radio Show with Mark Leibovit, your time machine for the financial markets. Want to know more? Go to wallstreetrawradio.com. Now, here's the elf himself, Mark Leibovit.
Mark is a financial... Welcome back, a very special guest to Wall Street Raw, Mark SKOUSEN. Mark is a financial economist, professor of economics at Chapman University in California, and most importantly, producer of the upcoming Freedom Fest in Vegas on July 19th. And, Freedom Fest is the world's largest gathering of free minds, is really the password there. And it's, again, July 19th through 22nd at the Paris Resort. And Mark's kind enough to spend a couple minutes with us. Mark, thank you for joining us.
It's my pleasure, and by the way, it's Paris, Las Vegas, not France.
Okay. Did I indicate that it wasn't Vegas? I should have said Vegas. I apologize.
Yeah.
We're in Vegas.
A lot of people probably want to go to Paris, but when they hear all the great speakers and panelists and debates, they may want to change their mind and come to Vegas on July 19th.
Well, I don't know how I skipped that. As I mentioned off here, it's one of my favorite spots, so we'll make sure people remember it's Vegas. So tell us a little bit in the couple minutes we have about the conference. It's really exciting. We've got some really great guests.
Yeah, it's our 10th anniversary, and it's very special. We expect a couple thousand people there, and we have Steve Forbes' 70th birthday party that we're celebrating. It's the 100th anniversary of Forbes magazine, so we're having a big talk about what that has meant. And it's also the 100th anniversary of communism, the Bolshevik Revolution. So we're doing a debate or a discussion of capitalism versus communism, who's winning the 100-year war. And, of course, you think that capitalism is won, but when you see Venezuela, a country of 32 million people now under a Marxist strongman, you kind of wonder. Or you see Bernie Sanders getting so much support for free student loans and Medicare and so forth, you really wonder about that sort of thing. But we have sessions on philosophy, history, science, and technology. We have William Shatner as our keynote speaker of Star Trek fame, so we're calling him the captain of the free enterprise.
Oh, wow.
That's our topic. So we have Senator Mike Lee coming from Utah. We have 4 congressmen who are going to tell us what's going on in Capitol Hill. We're going to have a big debate about Trump. We have the Anthem Film Festival, which is a libertarian film festival that's gotten rave reviews, and even one of their films has won an Emmy. So there's lots of activities going on. And as a matter of fact, if people go to freedomfest.com and look under agenda, we just posted our entire program of 300-some speakers and panelists and debaters. We have the Fox News people coming, Greg Gutfeld. We're going to ask him some tough questions about what's going on in Fox News and the sexual harassment that's going on and the fake news at CNN. And, I mean, it really is going to be a lot of fun. And all the freedom organizations show up: Cato, Reason, Heritage, Students for Liberty, Americans for Prosperity. I call it one-stop shopping for liberty at Freedom Fest. So it's a hot conference in Vegas in July. So I hope a lot of your people can come and join us.
Yeah, it's the libertarian event of the decade. That's how I'm billing it. Not incorrectly. When will you be speaking, Mark?
Well, I'm giving a couple of pre-conference events on Wednesday, July 19th at the Paris Resort. We're talking about Marxism, what every student and citizen should know about Marxism. I'm giving a talk on the inside story of Freedom Fest, our 10-year anniversary. I'm also doing a little appearance as Ben Franklin, and we have Jennifer Grossman appearing as Ayn Rand as a kind of a blast from the past of 2 characters. We have a mock trial, for example, with Kennedy from Fox Business as the judge. And this year we're putting the police on trial, which I think is very relevant to what's happening around the world. So we have people covering all aspects of what's going on in the freedom movement. And we do have a full investment conference with Jim Rogers coming and Keith Fitzgerald and Alex Green. There's just a whole list of speakers and experts on financial topics that I think your viewers would really get a lot out of Freedom Fest.
Well, we're really looking forward to it. And again, if you want to go, it's on July 19th through 22nd at the Paris Resort in Vegas, and you can save $100 off the registration fee, folks, if you go to freedomfest.com and enter the promo code RAW, R-A-W, for Wall Street Raw. And we hope to have Mark back hopefully again here next week. Thank you, Mark, and we look forward to seeing you at Freedom Fest.
Okay, see you then. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Mark. And, as I mentioned at the top of the show, I will be there doing some interviews, hopefully meeting some of these notables, and it should be a lot of fun. So if everything is working, we'll be broadcasting from there next week, again, July 19th through 22nd. Very interesting week in the markets, and let's touch on the markets here in the minute or so that we have on the segment. As reported, new highs across the board in all the major indices. There was a story with Jamie Dimon this past week with earnings coming out of J.P. Morgan and the trepidation that he's expressing regarding the Fed unwinding of its balance sheet and how that could possibly, basically it's destroying the money at the rate of about $50 billion a month if they start doing what they say they're going to start doing, and they may start saying they're doing that in September, and what that really means for the stock market and assets across the board. So if you go to my newsletter, you'll read more about what the implications of that all is. But obviously, the Fed has created an asset bubble. But meanwhile, this past week, we saw bonds starting to rally here a little bit. Gold, precious metals starting to rally a little bit. Commodities like copper doing well. The Canadian dollar strong, rallying. At the same time, of course, the dollar into new lows. In fact, new lows on Friday, 95.08. New relative lows, I should say. Of course, it's been much higher and lower over the years, but it's been in a correction here. Didn't really help gold and silver that much recently, though it helped, I guess, a little bit on Friday. But I think gold and silver and precious metals and commodities are doing their own thing. But in the meantime, we got the Dow into new highs, reaching 21,681. The S&P into new highs at 2463. So, I'm in the camp that you should see a pullback during the summer cyclically. And we just heard Don talk in segment 1 about how the July 17th period historically is a time for a market peak, and he does studies over 20 years. And generally we do get, some volatility in the summer, usually some negative news story that drives the market down. But if you look at the VIX index, the VIX index got down to 951, which is a new low that I've seen here, the lowest I can remember in the longest period of time. So the bulls are still in charge, and I think you want to see that volatility index starting to uptick as a sign that indeed we are going to get some type of correction. So for the moment, as Harry Boxer said, I got to play individual stocks as we're doing. The solar stocks did really well for us this past week. We traded a lot of those at vrtrader.com. Those seem to be in nice uptrends, and they're tradable to the upside as well. And, we're always trying to find some opportunities, and we'll see if the market gives us that sell signal. For now, it hasn't. Stay tuned. We'll be after the break here with our good friend Sinclair No.
Go to wallstreetradio.com for more information on Mark's newsletters and products. Stay tuned. Mark will be right back.
My friend, for years, Swiss America and I have been warning about the unsafe world of modern banking, in which merely holding cash might be a crime. Today, if you decide to withdraw cash, be prepared to explain why or fill out forms. So why are honest citizens suddenly being treated like criminals? That's the subject of 2 complimentary Swiss America special reports, The Secret War on Cash and The 10 Consequences of a Cashless World. Why don't you call Swiss America now for these free reports? 800-289-2646. Again, 800-289-2646. Does a cashless world concern you? It ought to. New government capital controls are targeting citizen savings and retirement funds. Take it from Pat Boone. These reports will explain what you can do about it. Call 800-289-2646, 800-289-2646.
Have you checked your Google search results lately? Search results are usually the first impression that people form of you or your business, so make sure that they create a positive impression with ReputationDefender.com. What the Internet says about you can have a big impact on your life and your livelihood, even if it's not true. Fortunately, you can now control how you look online and in online search results with ReputationDefender.com. Call 800-831-0771 now. That's 800-831-0771 for your free reputation analysis. If you have negative material from an ex-employee, upset patient, or former client, newspaper article, legal issue, social media, or other source showing up in your search results, you can combat it with ReputationDefender.com. Our dedicated experts in patented technology can help make your online search results look their best. Call 800-831-0771 to learn more. 800-831-0771. That's 800-831-0771. Or visit ReputationDefender.com.
If you're 85 or younger, would you like peace of mind and comfort for your family? We're Final Expense Direct with an urgent message for you. The average funeral today costs over $8,000, but the most you'll get from government benefits is $255. How will your family pay the difference? We can help. Our senior plans start as low as just $1 a day and pay up to $30,000 for a funeral and other final expenses. Peace of mind is easy. There's no medical exam. You'll have lifetime coverage, and your plan can't be canceled as long as you pay your premiums. Call now for free information about our senior plans. Answer a few simple questions and receive approval right on the phone. Plus, call right now and we'll give you a discount prescription card for free. Call 800-557-0158. That's 800-557-0158. Again, 800-557-0158. Heart disease is on the rise. Clogged arteries, high blood pressure, and high cholesterol levels may not be fully detected by you, but the symptoms are there. Loss of energy, blood sugar spikes and drops, poor circulation, and irregular heartbeat are just a few of these that can alert you that something is wrong. Hear how Heart and Body Extract is making a difference in thousands of people's lives across America.
My blood pressure has normalized. My diabetes has totally improved.
Everyone is telling me now how much healthier I look, and I'm telling everyone how much healthier I feel. I recommend Heart and Body Extract to everyone.
Anybody over 40 in the North American continent should be using this product as a preventative to keep their cardiovascular system healthy.
Order your 2-month supply today by calling 866-295-5305. That's 866-295-5305. Or order online, hbextract.com. Heart and Body Extract, 866-295-5305 or hbextract.com.
Against thy neighbor. Thou shalt not covet anything that is thy neighbor.
Welcome back to Wall Street Raw. Want to know more about Wall Street Raw and the Leibovit VR newsletters? Go to wallstreetrawradio.com.
Welcoming back our regular and always special guest, Sinclair Nell from KFNN 1510 Phoenix, and author of the great blog, incomparable blog, eatthebankers.com. Thank you, Sinclair, again for joining us.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Well, on the Friday, we saw that core consumer inflation, which accelerated in January, really got tempered here in June, and some are questioning now whether the Fed is going to meet its inflation targets.
What inflation?
Oh, okay.
It's like it doesn't even exist almost. They're showing the rate of inflation over the past 12 months slowed to 1.6%. It had been at 1.9% annualized rate. That's the CPI, Consumer Price Index, which measures prices at the retail level. It's the most common measurement that we use for inflation, although it's not the Fed's preferred gauge. But still, this is far from the 2% target that the Federal Reserve has been telling us they want to see that would indicate to them that they've achieved a target for price stability. So apparently we're still in deflationary mode, or disinflationary mode, to be more specific. The Fed's not there. So why then are they raising interest rates? Why are they selling off their balance sheet?
Right. And retail sales were also dropped for the second month in June. So consumers are not too excited about what's going on in the economy either.
The economy's just kind of sluggish. Isn't that a familiar theme that we've heard over the past, 8-9 years now?
But the Dow Industrial's into new record highs again, Sinclair. Unbelievable.
We've been celebrating with milk and cookies.
I know. So obviously we're climbing a wall of worry, or we don't know something that's happening out there, right?
We're buying cookies in bulk now to celebrate new records for the Dow Industrials. It's a little bit crazy. You got to think, what's going on here? But the simple fact is, companies, and then we're moving into earnings season now, companies are probably going to have another good earnings season. It looks like earnings growth is in the neighborhood of 7.5%, maybe 8%. That justifies the market moving higher. So that's what's happening. And then the market also a little bit excited about the idea that the Federal Reserve is not going to get too hawkish. That was confirmed by Federal Reserve Chair Janet Yellen delivering her semi-annual Humphrey Hawkins testimony on Capitol Hill this week. She sounded a very dovish tone. Back that up with comments from some of the Fed heads, Lael Brainerd, Neil Kashkari, Rob Kaplan, Fed president from Dallas. They were all basically saying, no rush here.
You know, the Beige Book came out this past week, too, and one of the most notable highlights was that apparent downgrade on the low end of overall economic activity was sort of mentioned. That was interesting.
Yeah, the Beige Book was not a particularly, when is it ever a particularly exciting report?
It's not the kind of thing you go to sleep reading at night, I understand.
No, they don't call it the Psychedelic Amazing Technicolor Book. It's a Beige Book, and there's a good reason for it.
That's a good reason,
Basically, it's just some general observations from the 12 Fed districts prior to the next FOMC meeting. Okay, things are a little bit sluggish, things are a little bit slow. We keep seeing that. We're not seeing anything that would indicate to us that this economy is, about to launch into space or something. It's just more of the same, which, quite frankly, not that terrible, could be worse. Take it.
Meanwhile, the Bank of Canada this week boosted its benchmark rate to 0.75, and apparently Canada's in the midst of one of its strongest economic growth spurts since 2008-9. Maybe we can learn something from Canada.
You look at the G7, and Canada's leading the way in economic growth. They are up over 3% GDP growth now, something that I know is a target of the Trump administration, but which Fed Chair Yellen said, that's probably not going to happen. Don't hold your breath on that one. And basically every economist around is saying, no, it's not going to happen. I don't think we're going to get there, not in the next year. I don't see anything that would lift us off into that trajectory. Canada's pulling it off, though, and doing it even as we're seeing fairly low commodity prices, I might mention.
Yeah, that's amazing because the commodities are still relatively depressed coming out of bottoms, That's something else.
And Canada tends to deal in a lot of natural resources.
Correct. Sinclair, thank you so much for joining us. Our good friend Sinclair No from KFNN 1510 Phoenix and author of the great blog EatTheBankers.com. And always a pleasure having you on the show, Sinclair. And we'll talk to you next week. Have a great weekend.
It's always an incomparable time with you.
Thank you. Thank you, Sinclair. And, we were talking before the break about what Jamie Dimon said this past week and with the Fed's plans to unwind its balance sheet. Well, the Fed will likely announce the kickoff this year, as I mentioned earlier, possibly in September. The Fed plan calls for a phase-in period. It will unload about $10 billion in the first month, then raise that to $50 billion over the next 12 months. Then it will continue at that pace to achieve its balance sheet normalization, is what what they're saying. Just like the Fed created this money during the QE to buy these assets, it will destroy this money at the rate of $50 billion a month or $600 billion a year. It's the reverse of QE with reverse effects. Well, QE had the intended effect, inflating asset prices, and now with unwinding QE possibly starting, unless the Fed delays this, once it starts in earnest, it's likely to pull asset prices in the opposite direction. So, given how leveraged assets are and the enormous extent they've been used as collateral, I guess you could argue that there are risks ahead for the markets, and we'll see how the markets absorb that. But again, the markets have been climbing a wall of worry. Is it possible we'll see the markets move higher even despite the reverse QE taking effect? I had an urgent question for every listener with a bank account, stock portfolio, or retirement account. We now know that nothing in the online world is private and safe from being hacked, including national secrets held by the CIA, NSA, and top intelligence agencies. So what can we do to protect our hard-earned money and privacy from cyber theft? Well, Swiss America, one of my great sponsors, is a firm committed to public education, has just published a new booklet with all the answers you need. It's entitled Don't Bank on It. And it's thoroughly researched by a trusted contributor on Fox News. So to get a free copy of Don't Bank on It, call now, 800-289-2646. That's 800-289-2646, and discover how to reduce your risk from today's unsafe online banking risks. So call now again. Don't bank on it. You can also get a copy of The Secret War of Cash if you also request. And don't forget to mention you heard this on Wall Street Raw. That number again is 800-289-2646. Coming up next segment, we have a couple paid interviews, but still important ones, from two fellows from Raging Bull, Kyle Dennis and Jeff Bishop. So I'm looking forward to those interviews. And then we have a very special short interview with Keith FITZGERALD, who you've probably seen on Fox News and many of the networks. And he's going to be at the Freedom Fest next week along with us. So we're looking forward to seeing Keith there, and along with Mark SKOUSEN and the whole list. I'm looking forward to seeing William Shatner. That should be really interesting. The Starship Enterprise is sort of the key tie-in here with the financial conference. Should be really, really exciting. And if you go to my website, vrtrader.com, you can get a $100 discount by entering the keyword RAW when you go to the Freedom Fest website there. So please do that if you have a chance. Don't touch your dial. We'll be back after the break with 3 good and important short interviews.
You're listening to Wall Street Raw with Mark Leibovit. Go to wallstreetrawradio.com for information on Mark's newsletters and products. Stay tuned. Mark will be right back.
High-performance investors and traders use superior financial tools to achieve superior returns. You have that tool with Mark Leibovit, nationally renowned top market timer, legendary television Wall Street Week elf, and nightly business report market monitor, who shares with you his unique market tools and commentary at wallstreetraw.com. Here, Mark provides you with his latest ideas on how to help build and protect your wealth and help you avoid the next big market tsunami. Mark has a special free gift for listeners of his Wall Street Raw radio show. Go to wallstreetraw.com and sign up for his free monthly Cannabis Vice News Raw report. While there, go ahead and sign up for his free monthly Gold News Raw report. Both are totally free. No credit card information is required, and no one will call. Sign up today for your free Cannabis Vice News Raw report and Gold News Raw report at wallstreetraw.com.
This is a warning to all household pests, to all cockroaches, spiders, ants, mice, and rats. If you've made yourself at home in someone else's home, you'd better hope the owners never hear about Terminix. Because Terminix has the know-how and the means to do whatever it takes to remove you from that home. Terminix has 90 years of experience eliminating home invaders. And they make it easy for homeowners to be protected by offering a free pest estimate by calling 1-800-686-1063. Cockroaches, spiders, ants, mice, rats, and other pests. This is your last chance with With one call, Terminix will remove you from the home you've invaded. If you think you can simply come back later, think again. Terminix will never stop working to keep you out with a 100% satisfaction guarantee. Pests.
Wherever you are, I will find you.
Pests, you've been warned. Homeowners are calling Terminix right now for a free pest estimate. 1-800-686-1063. 1-800-686-1063.
30-day money-back guarantee at participating locations. Limitations apply. See plan for details.
Love or loathe him, Donald J. Trump is our 45th president. There is no denying now that Trump will go down in history, both despised and admired. Commemorate Trump's presidency with your very own Trump Silver Bust from TrumpSilverStatue.com. This museum-quality heirloom Trump Silver Statue bust is hand-cast from 20 troy ounces of silver, a great investment. From TrumpSilverStatue.com. Loathed or loved, own a valuable piece of Trump's legacy. Get your solid silver Trump bust today at TrumpSilverStatue.com.
Hello, I'm Mike Lindell, the inventor of MyPillow, and like all of you out there, I had problems sleeping. Pillows would go flat, I would flip-flop all night long, I would wake up with a sore neck, maybe a headache, or feel like I needed a nap even though I slept 8 hours. When I invented MyPillow, I wanted it to where you could move the patented fill to give you the exact support you need as an individual, regardless of sleep position. MyPillow will get you into that deep REM sleep faster, and you will stay there longer. It's not about how much time we spend in bed, it's about how much of that quality sleep we get. I do all of my own manufacturing right here in the United States. I have a 10-year warranty. You can wash and dry my pillow, and I give you a 60-day money-back guarantee, so you have nothing to lose. And here's my best offer ever. You can buy one of my pillows and get one absolutely free.
Go to mypillow.com or call 800-870-0305 and use promo code GCN. That's mypillow.com or 800-870-0305 with promo code GCN.
Bad theater seats, cheap Halloween masks, my apartment, all things with obstructed views. Add to these large trucks and buses. 18-wheelers and large buses have big blind spots, and like my apartment, they don't always have the best view. Bus and truck drivers deal with blind spots around the entire vehicle. Always take care not to ride alongside or too close behind them. Our roads, our responsibility. Learn more at sharetheroadsafely.gov.
Responsibility begins and ends with our partners and our shareholders, and that's it.
There is no freedom without the law.
Get it? Got it? Good.
Welcome back to Wall Street Raw and the final segment with Mark Leibovit. Now, here's the elf himself.
Welcome, a very special guest to Wall Street Raw on this Saturday morning is Kyle Dennis. He's the biotech strategist at RagingBull.com. He's an independent equities trader focused on uncovering undervalued stocks in the market, and he researches stocks which are under the radar and looks for supporting data. At Biotech Breakouts, Kyle is an expert at finding winning biotech trades, and according to what I've read on his website, he turned 15,000 trading account into nearly 2 million in less than 3 years. Kyle, I want you trading my account. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me on, Mark.
Okay, tell us a little bit about what you do at your website, Raging Bull, and at the biotech website, and also what you're thinking now.
Sure. Most of the time I focus on the biotech sector, and I trade mostly smaller cap stocks around what I like to call catalyst events or dates that are coming up where a company is going to be releasing some data. I found that strategy to be pretty reliable and methodical, and I usually trade in and out of these names every couple weeks and follow along with kind of the news wire of what's going on with upcoming data and other events. Maybe a company might be at a conference. So I really track the biotech index very, very closely.
At Biotech Breakouts, then, some more of a near-term perspective or a really trading perspective?
Correct. It's pretty much a near-term perspective. I usually follow along with these events, and I track them about a month or a month and a half away from the event that's coming up, and I trade around it. So usually I'm kind of a longer-term swing trader. So it's not really investing. It's more holding things for about a month and trading them ahead of particular events. And I found that to be very reliable and pretty successful, at least over the past 5-6 years when we're in this biotech bull market.
Kyle, we have about 30 seconds or so. Do you have some names that our listeners would be interested in looking at?
Sure. For For you guys that might want to be interested in a catalyst name, I like for Sartis, the ticker there is VSAR. They have a catalyst coming up in September. And for fundamental guys, I really like Gilead, large cap GILD. I think it's very undervalued longer term.
There was a lot of talk about government intervention or pricing issues with regard to pharma and biotech. Do you see that behind us now?
Yeah, I think that's behind us. It's kind of priced in, and going forward, I think there's a lot of positives going for the biotech index, and I don't think that pricing is going to be an issue in the near-term future.
Kyle, I really want to thank you for joining us. That's Kyle Dennis, Chief Biotech Strategist at RagingBull.com and at BiotechBreakouts.com, and we hope to have him back here hopefully next week and get a little bit of an update on biotech. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Mark. Enjoyed it.
Welcoming a very special guest on the Saturday morning on Wall Street Raw is Jeff Bishop, who is the founder of several popular education and trading websites, most notably RagingBull.com and TopStockPicks.com. He's a multi-millionaire since his early 30s and has over 20 years of experience in the stock market under his belt. He says he dabbles in virtually every aspect of the market, and it's really a pleasure having somebody that successful on our show. Jeff, thanks for joining us.
Oh, it's great to be here. Thanks for having me.
So I know you're a bit of a trader. We all come from a trading background, but tell us a little bit about what your current thinking on the market is and how our listeners can benefit from RagingBull.com.
Yeah, well, RagingBull.com is a site we put together with some of the best real money trading experts out there. I think it's a good resource that people can use to get ideas from what people who are trading different areas of the market are actually doing with their real money, and you can follow what they're doing and why they're thinking what they're thinking right along with them. So it's a great resource there. As far as what I trade, I typically trade ETFs. I like the liquidity, and I like being able to make a bet on a long or short side really quickly and easily and cover all the different sectors I want to be in. So that's typically what I trade with, or the ETFs.
So what are your favorite ETFs now?
Well, right now I think we've seen a big sell-off in volatility and bonds and gold, and I think all three of those are areas investors should be looking at as a short-term bounce. Notably, I'm pretty active buying bonds right now, and the bond ETF I would be looking at is TMF. It gives you a triple leverage on the upside for a rebound in a 20-year bonds.
That's really surprising because everybody's looking at the Fed with higher interest rates, and the bond market may be a place, just from a contrarian's point of view, to be, and particularly if we get a summer correction. Is that sort of your thinking?
Yeah, it really is a contrarian bet right now. That typically is my investment style also. So I'm not really following the herd. I'm making short, large bets for a short amount of time. So a bet that I'm in is typically going to be, a few days or a couple of weeks at the most. I'm not a long-term investor by any sense of the means. So looking for short opportunities in the market when it presents itself. And right now I think bonds are an excellent place to be in. I think technically the chart is set up very nicely with a lot of support. On the TLT, for example, that's the largest ETF out there for the bond market we're going to track. Got a lot of support right around this area right here. So I think that as it holds that and we're starting to see a rebound off of that, it's a really good time for investors to look at that. And if it doesn't hold, then I think there's a pretty clear stop out of that, about $1 lower from here.
Jeff, I want to thank you so much for joining us. We ran out of time. Jeff Bishop from RagingBull.com. If you want more information, go to RagingBull.com or TopStockPicks.com. And we look forward to having Jeff back on the show next week. And thank you again for joining us.
Thanks a lot.
Welcoming a very special guest on Wall Street Raw this Saturday morning is Keith FITZGERALD, who spent 35 years in global markets as a consultant, analyst, and trader. More than 3 million readers, subscribers, and viewers depend on his commentary and perspective. He's one of the very few experts that correctly foresee both the dot-com crisis and the ongoing financial crisis ahead of time. Keith, I know you're all over the place with Fox Network and CNBC, but you will be a guest at the upcoming Freedom Fest in Vegas next week. But let's talk a little bit about what you're going to be doing there and your current view of the markets, and thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me. It's a real pleasure to be here. Freedom Fest is one of those interesting conferences that I really like going to because you get all kinds of information. And unlike America and the rest of the world right now, where discord seems to be, a dysfunctional normal, at a conference like that, and Freedom Fest in particular, you get to talk and you get to have discussions and you get to expand your intellectual horizons. And, that's a lot of what we're going to be doing out there.
I know you're speaking next Thursday and Friday, and you're going to be on several panels with Jim Rogers, Steve Forbes, many other notables. What's your current views?
Well, it's interesting because the headlines would have you believe that there's nothing out there worth buying, that there's very little opportunity, and that the world's about to go to hell in a handbasket. Ironically, we know from history, and I'm talking thousands of years of history, that's precisely the moment when you can separate the winners from the losers. So I am actually very, very excited about current market conditions because if you know where to look, there's a lot of opportunity out there.
So the market may be climbing a wall of worry, is what you're saying.
Well, right. A lot of people make the mistake of trying to be right or wrong about certain topics, whether it's political discord, whether it's health care, whether it's defense, it doesn't matter. They're all trying to be right or wrong. My job on behalf of all of our family of readers and those folks that I'm humbled to have the readership of is to make them profitable. And there's a big difference. Professionals want to be profitable. Amateurs want to be right.
If our listeners want to get in touch with you, Keith, what's the best way for them to do that?
The easiest thing to do is go to TotalWealthResearch.com, and they can join the party. We're more than 1 million families strong, and I'd be humbled and honored if they do that.
Keith, it's really a pleasure having you. I know it's a short interview, but we got Freedom Fest coming up. Keith Fitzgerald will be there next Thursday and Friday with his presentations, and we really enjoy having him on the show and look forward to seeing him at the conference. Keith, and thank you for squeezing us in, and thank you for your bullish comments.
You're very kind, and thank you very much for having me.
Thank you very much, Keith, and we look forward to seeing Keith on those panels next week at Freedom Fest. I want to thank all of you again for joining us here on Wall Street Raw Radio, which is my financial, political, spiritual, and even musical on-air time machine, as you hear with many of the pieces that we play here during the breaks or between the breaks. So it's really an honor doing the show and a lot of fun doing the show. I want to thank all our guests for having joined us this week. Harry Boxer, Sinclair No, Don VIALOUX, of course, Keith Fitzgerald, who we just had on the air, Kyle Dennis, Jeff Bishop, and of course Mark SKOUSEN coming up at the Freedom Fest this coming week. Again, if you go to Wall Street Raw Radio or VRTrader.com, you can get a discount of $100 by entering the keyword RAW, R-A-W, as a keyword or as a promo code for signing up for that event. Looking forward to attending it next week and broadcasting there from next week. And as we do each week, this time we thank our old friend Ed Hart from the Financial News Network from way back in the 1980s and 1990s. I used to do those shows many years ago on the old Financial News Network, and he used to close that show by saying, as we do here every week, we will know in the fullness of time. Thank you for joining us on Wall Street Raw.
Thank you for listening to Wall Street Raw with nationally recognized market timer and previous Wall Street Week Elf, Mark Leibovit. If you missed any of today's show or to get in touch with Mark, please go to wallstreetrawradio.com. Any stocks or investment discussed on Wall Street Raw are not in any way a recommendation or solicitation to buy, sell, or hold. We first recommend you seek out a licensed financial professional for advice. Go to wallstreetrawradio.com for more information on Mark's newsletters and products.
High-performance investors and traders use superior financial tools to achieve superior returns. You have that tool with Mark Leibovit, nationally renowned top market timer, legendary television Wall Street Week elf, and nightly business report market monitor, who shares with you his unique market tools and commentary at wallstreetraw.com. At wallstreetraw.com, Mark provides you with his latest ideas on how to help build and protect your wealth and help you avoid the next big market crash. Mark has a special free gift for listeners of his Wall Street Raw radio show. Go to wallstreetraw.com and sign up for his free monthly Cannabis Vice News Raw report. While there, go ahead and sign up for his free monthly Gold News Raw report. Both are totally free. No credit card information is required. Sign up today for your free Cannabis Vice News Raw and Gold News Raw reports at wallstreetraw.com. That's wallstreetraw.com.
Are you looking to become more self-sufficient? Then you need to have your own energy source. The SolarArc EMP hardened generator is automatic, maintenance-free, and reduces your monthly electric bill. You can also take it off-grid when you go camping. Contact PortableSolarLLC.com or call for details at 972-575-8875 today. Portable Solar LLC gives you everything you need to start using solar energy in less than 1 hour. SolarArc EMP hardened solar generator energy insurance for your family or business. Call Portable Solar LLC today.
I'm Maria Brous, Director of Media and Community Relations with Publix Supermarkets. Did you know that premature birth is the #1 killer of babies in the United States? Or that survivors can face a lifetime of serious health problems? But you can help. Join me and Publix for the March for Babies Walk. We'll work together to raise funds for research and programs that help the March of Dimes fight premature birth and birth defects and improve the health of moms and babies. Start your team today at marchforbabies.org.